specifically going over replacing the Precision Temp Twin Temp 2 Junior, which is in our 2010 Newmar Dutch Star. However, we have tried to make this video helpful to anyone owning an RV, just for basic knowledge and information. If you do have a Precision Temp, this is their phone number, their website, and I highly encourage you to contact your own manufacturer. Hopefully they'll be as willing as Precision Temp was to assist you in whatever needs you have.
Good morning. This video is intended to help RV owners realize the importance of maintaining their water heaters. Now, we are brand new RV owners ourselves, and we only know about our water heater, so please refer to your manufacturer information. We are talking about Precision Temp Hydronic water heaters. Just recently, after purchasing our RV, we noticed our water heater wasn't acting right, so it just didn't seem like the water was warm long enough, so we looked at it and we saw the reservoir was empty of the what's that stuff called?
Hydronic fluid?
The hydronic fluid, which is kind of like antifreeze. We needed to refill it, so we poured some into the reservoir, and I heard a trickling noise and it was just all coming out the bottom of the rig. Contacted the company, and turns out they believed the tank needed to be replaced. But after looking at the price to replace the unit versus just the tank, and all the expense in ripping it apart to replace it, we decided to replace it completely. And in doing so, we also were encouraged to do it ourselves. We were told that a lot of mechanics wouldn't do the proper flushing, and we're actually save a lot of money and do it ourselves. So we did that. We replaced the unit, and we were also encouraged to salvage some of the parts from the unit. So we're going to show you a little bit of what we learned in hopes that it will help you not lose your water heater too soon. Now, just a word of caution. I don't want to give you this idea that it's an easy, simple thing to do. It took us an entire day, starting from 7 in the morning, and we finished just before sundown. It would take a professional probably 5 hours to do this job properly. And we knew that going in, that it might take the whole day, so we started early. But Gary at Precision Temp was available all throughout the day to talk to us and work us through little things that we had problems with. We gained a lot of respect and admiration for the unit and how it works. We learned a lot about our water heater. We learned how to maintain it properly. We learned to appreciate the little bit of time it takes to flush it out and properly manage it, so that we don't have to do this again in the future. It was brutal. It was 110 degrees in the middle of August when we decided to do this, and we did run into some little issues. The Precision Temp system that was 10 years old had been changed slightly, so the footprint changed, which caused a little bit of hassle. But you know, we stayed calm, we talked to Gary, we let our minds do the work, and we did get it done, and we really are grateful. So that's why we're making this video. So but if you are not technical at all, if you're technically challenged, if it is something that you would never do or would not consider doing, the one piece of advice I can give you then is, if you go to a service station, you might make sure they flush the system. We flushed it both, all the way through, both ways. We flushed the hydronic system with water and air multiple times for over 2 hours before the water became clear, because there was so much corrosion in the system. And if you don't do that and you replace your system, all the corrosive material sitting in the 150 lines within your coach will get into your system and destroy it sooner than later. So keep that in mind. And I wish we had taken video. I wish I'd had a cameraman to videotape the actual process, but he and I were both so engulfed and focused on this big job that day that we could not have videotaped it all. But it really isn't necessary. All I can tell you is that Gary was amazing at Precision Temp, and I highly recommend letting him help you if you have this system. So let's have a look at what we've done.
So here is the unit now that it's been replaced. One thing you'll notice is it's not even, it's not straight. We were very fortunate that we were able to get it in here because the footprint had changed, like I had mentioned earlier.
So this is a view of underneath the RV. You can see that vent is no longer completely lined up with the hole properly. There's a part that they changed in the unit. I had to create a little slight adjustment, and this was the problem I was talking about earlier, but we were able to get it to work, luckily.
The first thing was removing the unit. This wall came out, giving us free access. We took everything out of that other space. We were able to remove this wall, which gave us full access to the back. And our old water heater was not installed correctly, from the sense that the directions on how to take it apart were not clear. But we have now installed it properly with the bracket on one side. It also came with a bracket over here, but as you can see, we were unable to use that bracket because it didn't fit. But we also added an additional brace, this L bracket at the top. We just came up with as a good way to secure it. And if you look in the back here, there's several lines. Now, I'm not 100% sure what they're all for anymore because it's been a while since we actually did this. But I do remember flushing the white line with water and air alternating for several minutes until it came clear. And then we did the same thing with the red line, I believe. And it was really phenomenal to see all the muck and gook and disgusting stuff that was coming out of those lines. And we did it for hours until it was clear. I don't recommend doing this unless you know what you're doing or unless you have the help of either Gary at Precision Temp or if the manufacturer of your machine is willing to be as helpful as Gary was. Really grateful for that. So we're hoping that this at least just gives you an idea of the task at hand. And if you have the right tools, it's possible to do it yourself. And I'm noticing over here in the reservoir that this is where I had added fluid in the original one, and it was just draining out onto the ground. But this is the reservoir that you want to keep filled. Keep your eye on it. It looks like we could use a few ounces in there now, so I'll get on to that. And while we're on the subject of fluids, this is the fluid that Gary recommended. We were using another brand that's extremely expensive, but Gary said was unnecessary, so we have switched to this brand. Make sure you use your manufacturer's information to choose one.
So this is our old unit, and essentially you have cold water coming into the unit that goes through a heat exchanger that was here, and propane burner warms up the water and or actually warms up the hydronic fluid, and it passes through a heat exchanger to heat up the water. And what happened to our unit is this tank right here that holds the hydronic fluid developed a hole in it, and started leaking. So the reason that happened is because of corrosion, and you can see kind of the mucky substance that came out of it. That's supposed to be a light blue color, kind of like clear water. And you can see inside of the tank here the evidence of the muck and corrosion. And it even sealed the radiator plug to the tank. So this thing has been neglected for quite some time. It's supposed to be flushed and fluid replaced once a year, and I would say the unit's 10 years old. I'd be surprised if it was changed over the last 5 years at all. If it was changed, we probably wouldn't be in this position right now having to replace the unit. So if you've got one of these hydronic heating units, I know they're common in motorhomes, especially Newmars, then definitely take some time to flush your system and replace your fluid once a year. And you won't have to go through tearing it out and replacing it. Now this whole unit was together. We're just tearing it apart to salvage some of the parts, just in case. These parts are all good still. It was just the tank that went bad. If the new unit has a problem with a part, we can swap one of these out. These are electronic control boards. These two items are pumps. That's a blower, and these are three-way switches essentially. And this is a switch of some type as well. Actually not sure which one this is, but we've got these spare parts. If our new one breaks down on a part, we'll have a little cache of things to go to. And this electronic board here, this one, is actually brand new. The prior owners had just replaced it within the last 9 or 10 months before we bought the unit. So I know that's in really good shape.
Just a quick note, I love recycling, and I took my heat exchanger and all the other copper pieces down to a local scrap yard. They paid me $40 for all of my stuff, and they made sure it got recycled properly. Be sure to take advantage of that. I just Google mapped it and found it, so I hope you are encouraged to do the same.
I don't know, is there anything else you want to say?
Just wanted to thank everybody for watching, and I appreciate all the other videos that were posted that help us along the way, and this is our way of giving back, helping others do what we've already done. Thank you.